The cost recovery period for residential rental real estate is 27.5 years and uses the straight line method. Residential rental real estate includes property where 80% or more of gross rental revenues are from non-transient dwellings, for example, apartment buildings. Hotels, motels, etc. are not residential rental property. Non-residential real estate has a recovery period of 39 years and also uses straight line method and the mid-month convention. Some items are not treated as real estate for the purpose of MACRS, including single-purpose agricultural structures, which are included in the 10-year MACR class, and land improvements, which are included in the 15-year MACR class.
Here's a realty example. Mark acquired a building on November 19, 2010 for $1.2 million. If the building is classified as non-residential real estate, the cost recovery deduction for 2010 is $3,852. This is calculated by using 0.00321, the amount from Table 8.6, times 1.2 million. The cost recovery deduction for 2011 is $30,768, which is calculated the same way as above. If the building is sold on May 21, 2011, the cost recovery deduction for 2011 is $11,538. The only difference in this example is that we times the amount by 4.5 over 12 because you only get half month's depreciation in the month of disposition. Here is Table 8.6 used in the previous example for 39-year non-residential real property. MACRS requires straight-line depreciation for all eligible real estate. In addition, the taxpayer may elect to use the straight-line method for personal property. Assets are depreciated using the class life with a half-year convention or the mid-quarter convention, whichever is applicable.
Here is a straight line example. Terry acquires a new 10-year class asset on August 4, 2010 for $100,000. He elects the straight line method of cost recovery. Terry's cost recovery deduction for 2010 is $5,000, which is calculated by multiplying the $100,000 cost times 0.050. His recovery deduction for 2011 is $10,000, which is $100,000 times 0.10, which is from Table 8.3. This is Table 8.3, which was used in the previous example.
A farming business is defined as the trade or business of farming, which includes operating a nursery or sod farm and the raising or harvesting of trees bearing fruit, nuts, or other crops or ornamental trees. Tangible personal property used in the farming business uses MACRS 150% declining balance method. The straight line method is required for any tree or vine bearing fruits or nuts. Real property used in farming is recovered over 27.5 or 39 years using the straight line method.
The applicable cost recovery method is affected if taxpayer elects not to have the uniform capitalization rules apply to the farming business. Under uniform capitalization rules, the cost of property produced or acquired for resale must be capitalized. When the election is made, cost recovery method required is ADS or straight line method. This method must be applied to all assets placed in service in the taxable year in which the election is in effect. Also, Section 179 expensing is still available.
Here's a farm property example. James purchased new farm equipment on July 10, 2010 for $80,000. If James does not elect to expense any of the costs under Section 179, his cost recovery deduction for 2010 is $8,568. This is calculated by taking 0.1071, the value from Table 8.4, times the $80,000 cost. This is Table 8.4 used in the previous example. As you can see, we got the 10.71% under the 7-year property recovery year 1.
When the lessor is the owner of a leasehold improvement property, the cost recovery period is the statutorily prescribed life. The recovery period for residential rental real estate is 27.5 years, and non-residential real estate is 39 years. For these real property leasehold improvements, the straight-line method is used. If the improvement is intangible personal property, the shorter MACRS lives and accelerated methods are used. When lesser-owned leasehold improvements are disposed of or abandoned because of termination of lease of the property, it will be treated as disposed of by the lessor, which means that a loss can be taken for any unrecovered basis. Cost recovery period is determined without regard to the lease term. Any unrecovered basis in the leasehold improvement property not retained by the leasee is deducted in the year the lease is terminated.
Here's a leasehold improvement example. On April 7, 2010, Mary signed a 10-year lease with John on a building to be used for her business. The lease period begins on May 1, 2010 and ends on April 30, 2020. Prior to signing the lease, John paid $300,000 to have a unique storefront added to the building. John's cost recovery deduction for 2010 for the addition is $4,815. This is calculated by taking the 0.01605 from Table 8.6 times the $300,000 cost. Here is Table 8.6 used in the previous example for 39-year non-residential real property.
This concludes our presentation. Thank you.